Don't rely on someone else to put a smile back on your face again. I won't look back on this as something that I'll miss, I'm sure. I've realized I've wasted my time and I could do a whole lot more. Now something good is coming. Now feel it all around me. Now the time has come. Plastic rose, I don't need you no more.
Welcome to Drumbeg Studio Podcasts with me, Michael Lumbey. And that kicking off the show was Novella with Plastic Rose. Novella are a 5-piece band from Dundee, and that single Plastic Rose came out early last year and is available on Spotify. Later in the show we'll have The Roques' latest single Addicted, which came out on the 3rd of May. We'll also have music from Midnight Alleys and Plasmas, but now it's time to find out this week's special guest. This week's special guest is student actor Coren Childs. Coren, welcome to the show. I hope you're well.
It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you here. I want to start off and take you back to London, where you're from.
Yeah.
How many years did you live there?
I lived there till I was 6. It wasn't... Say I'm originally from there is like... only technically true.
Technically true. Well, you were born there.
I was born there, but I left when I was very young.
That's fine.
I moved up to Edinburgh.
Okay.
Yeah. Moved up there because my dad... Honestly, because my dad was quite ill at the time.
Okay.
And we'd had a really, really long wait to get him treatment in London. And my mum's mum, my nana, lived up in Edinburgh, and there was no one else really here. So we thought it'd be... My parents thought it'd be... good idea to move up where he could get treatment and we could be close to my nana, and so it all kind of worked out that way.
Worked out like that. Gosh, yeah. Quite a touching subject.
Yeah, well, he's all better now, so
well, that's
all good.
And you presumably went to school in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I went to a primary school called Bruntsfield Primary.
Okay.
It was the primary school in our catchment area. It was a pretty nice place. I started in P2. And then went to James Gillespie's high school, which was the one my brother and sister had gone to, because we originally lived in that catchment area and then moved out.
Yeah.
Because they'd gone, I got in. It was the whole thing. It was a good school.
That's good. So, when did the acting kick into the life?
See, I can't remember exactly, because it was pretty soon after I came to Edinburgh, but I was still young enough that I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I joined this youth theatre, Lyceum Youth Theatre, at the Lyceum Theatre in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And yeah, I joined. I must have been about... I can't have been older than like 7 or 8 when I joined.
Young enough to have confidence to go and say, yes, I'm going to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was almost like at that early age, it wasn't even about the acting. It was a fun place to go on a Saturday morning, and I saw some friends, and it was almost a bit more like a play group that like once a year we'd start working towards a show and put on, like, at that age it was often like a devised piece.
Okay.
And I honestly can't remember certain scenes that we did. Yeah. But I can't remember a lot of those early shows until I moved out of like the mini group because there was 3 groups in Lyceum Youth Theatre. There was like the minis, the juniors, and the seniors. Okay. Then in each group there was like subsects, like senior 1, senior 2, depending on your skill. Yeah. But juniors and minis, seniors for age. It was only when I moved up to like juniors that I started remembering the shows we did. I think I remember my last show at minis was a Doctor Who show. Wow. In which I was the Doctor's assistant, and my friend Lily was the doctor. We were very progressive. We had a female doctor years before the BBC did.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, that could have been... you guys should have really written that down and sent that into the BBC, because you never know how early...
Oh, well, we also bested them because we had a time-travelling dragon which powered the TARDIS.
Oh, wow.
It was a whole lot.
Imagination at that time must have been incredible. Wow.
But, yeah, that was where, like, my love of acting started.
Nice.
Where I started acting.
Cool. There you go, that's Plasmas with Spark here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast. Plasmas are a 5-piece band from Dundee, and their music incorporates instruments like synthesizers, guitars, bass, drums, as well as vocals. Now it's time to turn back to our special guest, actor and writer, Coren Childs. So, you're currently studying creative writing, English and creative writing, here at Dundee University.
That's correct.
What made you move up to here to study?
Well, it was a split between Glasgow and Dundee when I was sending my applications. I was a bit split. I visited both campuses, really loved the atmosphere in both. My sister was studying in Glasgow at the time, and my brother had studied in Dundee. So it was like a sort of split between, I knew that both unis were really fun, and both cities were really fun as well, especially for student life. And in the end, it came down to the fact that I didn't get into Glasgow.
Did you not?
Nah, I didn't. But honestly, I wouldn't, looking back, even if I had got in, it would have been a difficult decision. And I'm glad I didn't have to make it in the end, and that Dundee got chosen for me. And wouldn't trade it for the world. It's an absolutely great city to be in and study in. It's a great uni. Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting that you were in Edinburgh and you didn't see anything in Edinburgh that you didn't want to stay in Edinburgh for studying.
No, I was always in the thing that, like, I wanted to get out. I'd lived in Edinburgh for not 14 years. I lived in Edinburgh for 12 years.
12 years, okay.
And I just knew that I wanted to see another city. Yeah. I mean, my brother and sister both left, and my parents as well were big proponents of the get out, go live your life. So I didn't see the appeal of staying in Edinburgh. Most of my friends had left anyway to go to other cities, and I wanted a new start. Yeah. So it was never really an idea in my mind of staying there.
All right. So what does your studies entail? What do you get up to?
It's a lot of reading.
A lot of reading, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of reading and writing about the books that I read, pretty much. Nice. I've been doing American literature and comic studies this semester.
Nice.
Which has been really fun. I'm just waiting on my grades back now. But yeah, the creative writing aspect of it is still a lot of reading because you got to sort of fit it in with the reading list that you've gotten and sort of relate it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you ask anyone who writes and they'll tell you got to read a lot. You can't be a writer without reading.
It slips off the tongue of every English teacher from primary school all the way up to the end of secondary, doesn't it?
Yeah, and beyond.
And beyond.
they still say that. The creative writing module this year was all on like creative essays.
Okay.
And I did one on nature writing as well.
Oh, nice.
So that was quite fun. I just finished third year, so I'm currently sort of getting ahead of my studies for next year.
Yeah.
In particular, my dissertation, which I've been reading American Psycho for, which is an interesting book, but also just horrific to read. Like, I won't go into what certain scenes in the podcast because I think it wouldn't be suitable to post anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare to read. And it's also, I've been noticing I'm getting more irritable reading it, which is not a good sign.
It's not a good sign at all, no.
But I'm almost finished, so thankfully I'll be able to put that down soon. And although I'll have to go back to it and actually write my dissertation, I won't have to read the whole thing again, thankfully. Yeah. But yeah, that's the main thing currently is getting ahead of my dissertation texts.
Well, that's good. We'll be catching up with Coren later on in the show, but now it's time to play The Roques' latest single. This is Addicted. It's The Roques with Addicted here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast. So I want to have a little chat about some of the recent creative work that you've done over the last few years.
Yeah.
What do these entail?
Well, I'm part of a student theatre society.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. Recently I directed a production of Much Ado About Nothing.
Wow. Which
was the first time properly directing a full show. And it was fun, but incredibly stressful.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah. But it was really enjoyable. We decided to take it in a different direction. We set it in the 70s rather
Nice.
than like Shakespearean times.
So you have all the 70s drag and everything, and
It wasn't the drag, but like yeah, it was all like we got a lot of flares and like I put one of the guys in a suit that I have that's actually from the 70s.
oh, nice.
And it was really, really fun production. And before that, I was in a play that a friend of mine wrote called Prime Minister's Questioning.
Wow.
That was all about a prime ministerial candidate who, to try and win the election, pretends that he's gay.
Interesting turn, yeah.
Yeah, he pretends he's in a relationship with his like old best friend who I played.
Okay.
And it was an odd one to be in. It was really funny and really enjoyable. And it was all written gender neutral.
Right.
So he just cast purely based on who came in for the role. The only stipulation was like the two main characters had to be the same gender. But that was fun. And then before that, I was the villain in a pantomime.
Oh, wow.
How
many years are we going back for that?
That was Christmas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was.
Right.
I was the big bad wolf in a production of Red Riding Hood that Kat, my girlfriend, was in. She played Red, and that was an interesting experience because, for reasons I won't go into here, the pantomime had to be written very quickly. We knew pantomime had to be written very quickly.
Okay.
About a week before rehearsal started.
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't really written like really strictly. It was very loose. They had the structure there, they had the scenes, but it left a lot of room for improvisation.
Yes.
Which meant that the cast had loads of fun, but we also created like the most chaotic show that happened in a while. First night, a guy threw himself into a table and sent himself to hospital. Because he got punched, he was meant to throw himself backwards. And rehearsals, it'd been fine.
Yeah.
And for some reason, first night, he threw himself back really hard and clipped his head on the end of the table and split his skull open.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disaster. There was a lot of drinking backstage throughout pretty much every night of the show.
Oh.
But yeah, that was the most chaotic role I've done. I've done other roles before that as well. I was with the Society. I was in production of And Then There Were None.
Okay.
Playing General MacArthur. I think it's MacArthur. I should know the name of the role I was in. But yeah, no, it's a lot of stuff with the Theatre Society that I'm part of. That I've done that has been quite fun.
Wow.
Asking for the last, thinking for life to set me free. I sleep alone, most every night for life to pass me by. Kids I know.
Midnight Alleys, the kids aren't alright here on Drumbeg Studio Podcast. Midnight Alleys are a 6-piece psychedelic rock and roll band from Dundee. Their influences come from bands like Velvet Underground, Talking Heads and Pixies. These guys have got quite a lot planned for this year. They've recently signed to Jutopolis Records, which means that they've got new music coming out soon. Now it's time to turn back to our special guest, Coren Childs, for the final time today. So you got one last year studying.
One last year in my undergrad. It's been a sort of topic on my mind recently because I'm considering staying on and doing a postgraduate. But I still am not sure about that. That's sort of been looking at ones that I can do.
Yeah.
There's one in Glasgow that seems quite interesting in American literature.
Nice.
And that's because I found that really interesting this last semester studying that. So that's an idea of what I might do. The other thing is a follow on from like acting.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone really into like writing, in particular writing films.
Nice.
So that's the sort of dream of what I want to do is.
That would be amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of ideas currently.
Yeah.
To see if I can finish those before I graduate. Then I'll have stuff that I can send off to like potential producers and
That's
such.
the thing. Keep them in the pipeline, and then you never know when you can.
Yeah, I've been looking at how to get into screenwriting, and basically the top thing was like, you're not gonna get your films made. No. But they might studios and producers might be like, hey, this guy's a good writer. Here, write this for us.
Yes, yeah.
And that's how you break into it. But yeah, a lot of it was just like, don't expect to get your films made at the start, and also expect the first couple of years to earn maybe like 10 grand. Yeah. It's just like, okay. All right. But yeah, it's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
Would be fun.
Enjoyable. And it's hard as hell to break into, but
I suppose what you could always do is you could amateurishly, put a wee movie together of what you've scripted as the showcase for it,
That's sort of what I was thinking. I was talking to a friend of mine who wants to make films, and he was talking about trying to sort of get some funding to make film his own. And so I'm talking to him about maybe trying to film one of my scripts on a sort of lower budget.
That'd be amazing.
My only problem is the two I'm working on currently, one of them's like a sci-fi cyberpunk thriller that would need quite a substantial budget, and the other one is meant to be filmed in Australia. If we got the money to go across there, then it'd be super low budget to film, because it's like just driving around the desert, but it's just the actual act of filming in Australia that would be troublesome.
Well, you can always come to me. We got given a green screen many, many years ago, and we've never used it really. So
there's some stuff that like green screening would be useful, but it's just literally because it's like I need a desert. I can't really. There's no deserts in Scotland. Just film the entire thing on a beach.
On a beach, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's the sort of idea of what I'd like to do, and then academia is like, well, this seems like it would be interesting. I wouldn't hate this life, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our talk quite nicely, actually. That's rounded off very well. Thanks very much.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You're very welcome. It's been wonderful. A big thank you there to Coren for giving me the chance to chat to him and find out about his life. All the best for the future for him. Well, that's just about it for this week. Join me next time when I'll be chatting to two special guests here in the studio, musicians Katie and Laura. We'll also have a couple of tunes from them as well, plus music from Ivory Caves and Longstay's latest single. Until then, see you next time. Drum